Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to today's webinar featuring the latest in cloud technology for contractors, Sage Intacct Construction. Our presenter today is Bob Sandlins from Accordant Company. Just a few notes before we get started. Everyone is muted for a clean listening experience. If you have questions, please type them into the questions box and we will address them at the end of the session. For the best visual experience, please maximize your screen. This webinar will be recorded and the link will be emailed out to everyone later on today. I will now turn it over to you, Bob.
Well, thank you, Krista. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us to review modern cloud solutions, Sage Intacct Construction. By way of introduction, here's my contact information on the left. I've worked with many of you over the years, so hello if we've not chatted in a while. Today's agenda, we're going to start with I promise, a short slide deck with some Intacct highlights, and then spend most of our time together live in the software with a particular focus on three areas. Interactive dashboard reporting that provides enhanced visibility to your company's data. Really a dramatic change from the way you're looking at Sage today in either 300 or 100. Then we'll review the UX and UI design, which relates to, by the way, user experience in the user interface. In other words, the look and feel and interactivity of the product. And then, of course, we'll touch on ease of use, which is paramount today in next-gen products. Then we'll walk through a few workflows for you to see how you can save time by a more efficient work process. And of course, for a deeper dive, just email us or call us and we'll set up a personal demonstration with your specific requirements. For those of you new to Accordant, we're a Sage partner with a technology focus on construction, real estate, and service-based companies. And we support now thousands of clients. We have a deep bench of Sage certified consultants ready to assist with any needs. So many of you attending this webinar this morning are using Sage 100 Contractor or Sage 300 CRE. First and foremost, Sage is committed to ongoing development of both of these products for many years to come. And when I say many years, when Sage Intacct was released, Sage General Management made a commitment of a 10-year plus roadmap on the products that are currently in place. So no worries, there's no fire in the barn. Sage 100 and 300 continue to be the most widely used and newly implemented products in the industry. Today, you can run either product on premise, in other words, a server in your building, or it can be cloud hosted for you. Both solutions, 100 and 300, offer a number of available web services to extend your current applications to the web for either an operational component or a web browser view. Now, when I say web browser, it's an extension to 100 and 300 as the software sits today. Now, Sage Intacct Construction is a next generation, state-of-the-art product built natively for the cloud. It's a true multi-tenant SaaS, and SaaS is software as a service. Sage Intacct currently has 15,000 customers already as well. So it all started with two products. Some of you might remember Sage Master Builder or Master Builder, the predecessor to Sage 100 Contractor, and Timberline, the predecessor named to Sage 300 CRE or Construction and Real Estate. So Sage Intacct was actually inspired by much of what we learned in 100 and 300 over the years. Sage Intacct is the first and only preferred provider of the AICPA, the only software publisher to have earned this endorsement to date. Intacct is the undisputed leader in customer satisfaction as well, as evidenced by a rating of 98 of 100 on G2 Crowd across 2,000 reviews. And Intacct is a leader in innovation, recognized as a visionary by industry analysts like Gartner. So Sage Intacct, a couple things we're going to cover together this morning. Workflows, much more efficient than perhaps how we're doing things today, sitting on a rock solid financial core, which increases efficiency and cost savings. As a best-in-class financial management solution, Sage Intacct was built from the ground up to integrate with other best-in-class solutions. Open APIs throughout the software make interacting with data not only possible, but relatively simple. In Intacct dashboards, the first thing we're going to look at together are interactive, real-time, and highly flexible. Sage Intacct, just by way of contrast with Sage 100, 300, and many products in the market, you get an update a year and perhaps an update at the end of the year. And it's your responsibility to install that software on your server, or if it's cloud hosted, on the hosting provider. Sage Intacct, in contrast, has 4 releases a year with hundreds of new features each. Updates are rolled out automatically to every user the 3rd Saturday of February, May, August, and November. Certainly an advantage to SaaS software. Monday morning, when you walk in after the release was published, all the features that are there, accompanied by videos and online help text to support the updates. So this is just a quick solution map I just wanted to share with everyone and the targeted markets for Sage Intacct. Now, construction was released in February 2020. We're now 6 releases in, and you'll see some very noticeable enhancements over perhaps ways we've done things in the past. A couple examples. We have a more flexible work breakdown structure. So those of you that want different cost code structures on different types of work, you can do that today. You're not encumbered by having a structure that has to be consistent across all projects. Though in best practice, we would recommend by job type you set up a standard and use our catalog of cost codes to standardize that. But different jobs, if you're doing both GC work and development work or different kinds of specialty work, you could have different jobs with different cost code combinations, literally different lengths of fields with different parent-child relationships as well, being the categories. We have an improved AP and AR retainage with release capabilities now, an improved commitment workflow, which we're going to show, and neat things like having unlimited estimate types, where you could literally copy an estimate with one click, make changes, and make that your new primary estimate. Great tool for doing forecasting as well. So here's a list of potential marketplace providers that some clients will take advantage of. Procore, for those of you using Procore right now, they're already in the Sage marketplace. But other products that you're familiar with, perhaps Sage Service Operations, Sage ToolOps, TimberScan. A new version has been released for Sage Intacct Construction called Titanium via a web service. So more to come on existing products. One comment though, before we break away into the product, there are products you're using today as additional or add-on products to Sage 300 or 100. An example would be Create a Check or Print Boss, no longer needed. Maker check printing, standard in the base product. My Assistant, for those of you that are using My Assistant for alerts, we now have in the platform in Sage Intacct, smart events and smart rules, standard feature in the application. I'll talk more about that. And then the need for Office Connector, moving data into Excel easily, standard feature in the product. So let's jump in. I'm going to just close that PowerPoint and share with you Sage Intacct Construction. Now, I've opened up for everyone this morning a couple different dashboards, and we're going to start with dashboards. Then we're going to move in to the UI, the user interface, and the user experience as well, and then look at some workflow. So starting out, let's go ahead and maximize the screen. Notice in the top right corner, I'm logged in as R. Sandlins. So just real quick on that, I'll do that actually from another screen here. Let me go here, Bob Sandlins. Logged in differently on 2 different environments, but I just want to show each user logging into the software. Sorry. You know what, I'm going to come back to that screen. I'm not going to log back in. I'll just start from here. I'll talk about the preferences in just a bit. So let's start with just dashboards. So when you log into Sage, based on your user preferences, you'd have a default dashboard. Now, dashboards are tailored by role or by individual user. So this first view we're looking at is specific to its financials of the company. So let's dig into this one a little bit. Then let's look at a construction project dashboard. And by the way, dashboards could be a combination of both depending on the user login. All the data is secured. Notice as well when we're logged into this environment, it says top level at the top of the screen. That means that we're looking at a consolidation across multiple entities on one screen. We could quickly just open up another entity if we chose to, or within the dashboard, we could choose an entity. I'll be more specific about that in a minute. Notice at the top of the dashboard, there are 3 performance cards. Performance cards are KPIs or key performance indicators, giving you a quick pulse of what's happening around a specific data set or element. So for example, if you click on G&A expenses, hey, it's a happy face because your G&A expenses for whatever pool of accounts you've defined as G&A are down this month. Last month we were 12, this month we're 8,700. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, Bob, that's pretty good, but we need the ability to drill into the detail on any account for any period of time. So one click, by the way, we could literally drill down to the invoice and see the attachment if we wanted to. One click drills down into the detail. Now, the comparative year or month to month, it could be instead year to date versus year to date last year, or year to date actual against a year to date budget. So you can define the periods and as well as what we're looking at as a comparison. If we click on sales, it's down 53,000 this month. Last month we were 75. And again, the ability to drill down by just clicking on the hyperlink. Wherever you see blue, you're going to see drill downs into the detail behind that data. So let's look at, by example, let's do one more thing first before we look at it like an income statement. If you have multiple entities, and I see some of you do, you could right from this dashboard say, hey, show me just a specific entity. In this case, I opened up a location. Or let's see Maine, another location. So those could be locations, they could be departments, divisions, or in this case, an entity. You could even group entities or projects. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me see all my hotel work, all my residential work. So you can set up groups however you want to define them. So if we look at, let's say, North region, that now is combining those 2 entities we just quickly re-rendered with one click. And yes, all of the graphics will have drill downs to detail as well, depending on how it was configured. And by the way, if you notice, it says as of today. Well, somebody on here might be saying, Bob, that's pretty good, but I want to see this as of, I don't know, December 29th. Re-renders real quick, all of that data. Now, let's go ahead and just say all locations on that date. And let's actually go the 31st of the year. And let's look at an income statement by entity or division, department. And let's, in this case, instead of looking at it in the actual dashboard, let's just open up that view. So one click on that magnifier glass and you open up now the income statement across whatever number of entities. And you could have any grouping of entities that you want. And of course, right here, one click to drill down into detailed transactions. So that's a little bit about a dashboard that's looking at your company's data around financials. Let's look at it around construction. So here's another dashboard that has again 3 performance cards. And now we're looking at project overview by project, obviously, looking at contract estimate, estimated profit percentage, commitments, build cost, all the way up to the right. Notice my margins are calculating or showing based on the degree of the parameters we added to the colors. So, you know, a higher margin project is going to show a darker green than something that's at a loss. And obviously we could have that color represent across the line if you chose, or just specific to a column. Notice down below as I drop down here, and again, you can drill down into any of these. So if I want to see what makes up, I don't know, material cost on that job, there are the material bills that are making up the cost specific to this job. Now, notice that this view is representing different jobs more in a columnar view as opposed to, you know, a row view, and a little mini P&L. Down below that, project estimate versus actual, bar graph, profit margin, some pie charts, and a little deeper view now of the same view up top where we're looking at customer profitability, but now we're looking at revenue as well across perhaps billing items. And of course, any report in Sage Intacct could be added to a dashboard. You can open it up and interact with it. Now, a couple things. You might say, well, that's pretty good, but I want to do the same thing we just did on the financials. I want to filter the data off a dimension, which could be, and by the way, a dimension is you'll hear about that a lot with Sage Intacct. Think of a dimension as an attribute. So when you code a transaction, a journal entry, an AP bill, an AR bill, inventory, you're coding that transaction to a job, cost code, category, a vendor, a customer. Those are all dimensions. And we have custom dimensions as well we can add. So, and dimensions are really just attributes allowing for filters. So first, let me say, I want to look at just our warehouse projects. And now this re-rendered dashboard is just showing that one type of work. Real quick, let's just jump into residential. So if you're doing commercial and residential, you know, even if it's across companies, because again, I'm at the top level here, you could look at projects in any sort you want. You could then say, well, that's kind of interesting, but I really want to see what business did we do with a specific vendor, let's say, on just that residential work. So I choose off this pick down list, apply, re-renders that view again with just that vendor's data. And now we can drill down into the cost detail. So let's say, oh, how'd those invoices get there? What are they? They're all the subcontract costs specific to that one vendor. All right, so that's a little bit about dashboards. So dashboards are, as you've noticed, they're interactive. You can quickly change the view of data through a dimension. So interactive with filters, make it kind of a slice and dice of data based on how you want to see information. Performance cards to track key performance indicators, again, defined by you. Account groups to roll up consolidations like we did on a company or on a job. And then drill downs everywhere to transaction detail. Now, so Intacct dashboards are powerful, flexible, incredibly intuitive, easy to use. Let's move into just a little bit about the user experience and user interface. So to do that, when you log in, again, you'll have preferences here. And let me just jump in there. This is that screen we attempted to take you into a minute ago in that other environment. Each of you logging in will have specific preferences of how the software should navigate when you log in. What menus are displayable? When you navigate, are you clicking or are you hovering? There's a really nice, oh, by the way, when you open up a screen, how many items do you want to see? You know, somebody might want to see, you know, when we make an entry, 5 lines, somebody else might want 20 visible. I promise I won't go through all this, but I wanted to roll all the way down to here. So Sage Intacct has a feature called Collaborate. And Collaborate allows you to exchange information with other users logged into your database on perhaps the condition of a job, or an edit to a change order, or a bill that's on hold, a journal entry that's made. So when you log in, notice to the right of R. Sandlin's, my login, I have access real quick to Collaborate. These are messages that have come to me that I can respond to, that by opening up one of these, it takes you right to that screen where that conversation is taking place, and I could add my input. Notice all the way down below. Now, that's everywhere in the software. Turn that on. It's standard in the application. It's a great way to get rid of Post-it notes and reliance on emails that then aren't archived with your transactions. So let's spend a little bit more time just on just navigation. So in the application, this is how you move around. I have hover turned on, so as I just roll, it automatically moves the screen. I'm not clicking on anything. Notice that each application, whether it's job cost, AP, AR, we have an all menu, and a setup menu. Now, that's one way to navigate. Perhaps another way might be to use a workflow map. So purchasing, each application has that. And obviously, if you've got like purchase orders, you have different types of purchase orders, a purchase order, a subcontract, a change order. Those could be just quick, selections right off that workflow map. So that's something that's handy. Other things that people are reporting that they love are favorites. So if I just click on this favorites, it takes me right into AP pay bills. Now, when you go into, you could obviously go to pay bills here, or it's a favorite. Now, when you navigate as well, if you click on bills for an AP vendor invoice, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right to that. It opens up this list view. These list views on each screen are customizable. So Bob's view doesn't come with your environment. You'll have a standard one, but I've opened up and created the exact layout of columns that I want displayed. Why? Well, when I come in here, I might want to do a quick search. So let me just type in ALP and I will have alpha installation. Now from this one screen, if you're used to our other applications, when you go into AP, there's a specific place you can edit a bill. Here, I could be adding a bill, or I could just open up a bill. And if I have the security to do this, I could go ahead and edit the amount or the coding. So it's quick access to any transaction right from that one screen, with the ability to resort these columns, sort in ascending or descending order. Maybe you want to filter on a value, I don't know. So I want to see every invoice from Alpha with a 5 in it. So real quick access, now that's really important on customers, looking at invoices, jobs, purchase orders. Let me see every purchase order with this vendor. Real quick display. So let's go ahead and clear that filter. One other trick that a lot of companies are reporting, if you click bills, it takes you to this screen, right? Well, that we're talking about. If you click on the little plus next to that, what do you think happens? It takes you right to the bill entry window. And we're going to come back into this screen in just a minute. Now, one other commonly used feature, all the way over to the right of the screen, you'll see bookmarks. So a bookmark could take you right to a page too, like, hey, take me right to my vendor ad screen. Or I created a couple bookmarks here, bookmarks. How much cash do we have on hand? What's the job status right now? I want to create a new contract. So if I say how much cash is on hand, guess what that's displaying? A dashboard specific to the cash balance in this company or in my companies. That's consolidated up. Again, because I'm right now at the top level, I'm looking at all my companies. But we could be in a specific company and see a whole different cash position if I view that in this entity. So again, I left that screen open and I'm just going to jump right into that dashboard with cash on hand specific to this entity. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, $20,000 is in this one company. Okay, so let's look at a little bit of, one more notable thing here that everyone needs to know. So we talked about my assistant not being needed anymore, and perhaps Office Connector. I don't know if you noticed on all those dashboards, there was a click to drop to Excel. But within the application, we have smart events and smart rules, which can be added to a specific field. A smart event's a trigger. So when a given event occurs, certain conditions are met, it can send an email, or it can make an entry in your software. I'm sorry, smart event, that is. A smart rule is a condition that generates a warning or error message to a user when they're entering something on every field. By the way, custom fields can be added not just to master files, but maybe an AP bill entry screen or the distribution on an entry screen. So let's jump into a little bit of the workflow as well. So by way of just an intro to workflow, AP bills. Let's just look at AP bill entry. In fact, here, let's do it from my construction company. AP bills. Again, I could jump right to it, or I could open up this list view and then log in. Now, notice that I didn't click a list button to go look at a list of vendors. I just started typing in the vendor. A1 Electric's who I want, the bill number. Down below, I'll code it to a project, a cost code, category. Everybody's doing that today. And real quick, I'll just throw in, let's say $700. Now, by the way, some of you might say, well, I might not need titanium or, a specific workflow routing tool for approvals. I might just want to attach documents as I'm coding bills. You can do that. By the way, attachments can be added not just here in AP, but every entry screen and every master file. Just drag and drop onto it. You could put it into a folder or subfolder, click save. That document now is attached to that transaction. And when you click post right here, post in new, it automatically updates AP GL job cost. Now notice, hey, wait a minute, you've got a budget limit problem. Whoa, what's happening? Now you have visibility when you're entering an AP bill, hyperlinks to a budget or estimate. So as you're entering the bill, you could see the estimate or budget. And by the way, yes, in Sage Intacct, we now can record budgets by time frame, not just a lump sum. So let me close that. By the way, you might also right here, if you notice this $700 with what's already been posted at $5,900 and the $9,800 in open purchase orders, you're blowing your budget on this job by $9,000, almost $10,000. So here you might want to see the AP bills that were posted, or you could click into the purchase orders. And by the way, for me to continue posting this, I might not be able to, or if you allow soft controls, somebody could override that and continue on. Okay, so that's just a little bit of AP bill, dramatically different. Let's jump to purchasing real quick. Purchasing and subcontracts and change orders. I want everyone to see the screen layout that we've built. Now the interface, let me pause for a second. Notice every screen we go into, whether it's where we were in AP bills or here in customers, invoices. Notice the action buttons. And did you notice them on the dashboards? Very intuitive, very consistent across all the applications. So if we jump into purchasing, enter a purchase order, action buttons again, we'll just click add to add a new purchase order. And here's the screen to record a PO. Again, I'll just pick that vendor A1 Electric. I could drag and drop a quote right onto it. I added a custom field here, and then the same job coding. By the way, the coding on all the grids is customizable as well. A couple clicks on the right, we can edit the layout, and then that would change for all users. One other just advantage to workflow, and then we'll close it down and see if there are any open questions. Purchasing. One way to record an AP bill is to actually go into the PO log here. And if you notice up top, so here's the PO. If I click edit, we can obviously edit the PO if I have security to do that. There's the PO for $700. If you wanted to convert that PO to an invoice, just click convert vendor invoice, and we could in part or in some portion of that edit what's on that PO coming into the AP bill entry screen, and with one click submit it for review and approval if you have workflows turned on, or just submit it as an AP bill. So advanced, easier workflow, better laid out screens, provide an easier software to use. So just in recap of our session, I know we have a limited time this morning. We'd love to dive deeper in with everybody on the application. There's a lot to talk about, but just in review, real-time project visibility, financial visibility gives you better ability to make decisions and understand where the business is going. Automated workflows can save time while enforcing company policies. And software that frankly is fun, intuitive, easy to use, because it's thoughtfully designed and yet highly customizable. It's all adding up to a modern, state-of-the-art construction accounting solution. We'd love to dive deeper into this with you. We promised a 30-minute window. Krista, before we break, any questions that have come up that I need to respond to before we break?
We have no questions. So if you do have questions, you can just email us the recording and we'll get back to you.
Great. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We'd love to have a personal presentation for each of you, so let us know. We'll be sure to follow up with everyone as well. Thank you again. Have a good day.